Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into a universal business headache, one that causes a ton of stress and wastes an insane amount of time: procurement. For so many companies, just finding and evaluating suppliers is a fundamentally broken process. But what if there was a way to go from total chaos to crystal clarity? Yeah, let's be real. Does this look familiar? For a lot of folks, trying to run an RFP feels exactly like this: a chaotic, tangled mess. It's a jumble of inconsistent information, endless email chains, and a process that just feels slow, tedious, and honestly, pretty soul-crushing. So the pain really starts right at the beginning, doesn't it? You're on the hunt for a new supplier. You're trying to do your due diligence, but you're constantly bouncing between dozens of different websites, outdated PDFs, and marketing brochures. And all of it's inconsistent. You're basically just trying to find a needle in a haystack of marketing fluff. And let's say you finally gather some proposals. Now comes the fun part. Trying to compare them side by side is a nightmare. It's like trying to compare apples to, well, not even oranges, more like apples to car parts. Nothing lines up, the data is in totally different formats, and the whole thing is just incredibly slow and full of potential errors. Before you know it, you're drowning. Your screen is just a sea of open tabs and spreadsheets. Your downloads folder is bursting with dozens of files, none of which talk to each other. It's completely overwhelming, and frankly, it's no way to make a critical business decision. And this isn't just inefficient. It has a real human cost. People call it the RFP nightmare for a reason. This constant cycle of confusion and frustration is a direct cause of professional burnout. It's exhausting, and it drains companies of their most valuable resource, their people. So, how do we fix this? How do we escape this cycle? Well, the solution starts by flipping the whole process on its head. Instead of kicking things off with a vague request, we begin with a solid foundation of truth and trust for every single supplier. Okay, let's break this down. The core of this new system is something called the Business Identity Passport, or BIP. Think of it like a digital passport for a company. It's the one single canonical source of truth. It contains all the verified, factual information about who a company is and what it does. No marketing spin, just the facts. So here's the crucial difference. A normal marketing website is all about hype, but a verified BIP, that's all about facts. A website is unstructured and messy, but a BIP is perfectly structured for AI to understand instantly. It replaces inconsistency with a single, reliable source of truth. So we've got this foundation of trust with the BIP. Now let's move over to the buyer side of things and see how we can build on that to create a much smarter request process. All right, so forget about writing those massive 50-page tender documents that nobody wants to read. Instead, the buyer creates what's called a Procurement and Sourcing Passport, or a PSP. It's basically a smart AI-readable request that lays out exactly what you need in a clear, structured way. And making one is super straightforward. It's really just 3 simple steps. First, you define your goal. What is this procurement cycle all about? Second, you set your structured requirements. What are the specific things you need to know? And third, you invite suppliers who have that verified BIP. That's it. The buyer is in complete control. Now, what's really cool is that a PSP isn't just a document. It's more like a secure event container. This means the entire procurement exercise, every question, every answer, every revision, is all kept in one auditable, easy-to-track place. No more messy email chains where things get lost. Okay, so we have a structured request from the buyer, the PSP, and a verified identity from the supplier, the BIP. Now for the really interesting part. How do these two things come together to finally put an end to all that RFP chaos? This connection happens through something called the Procurement Protocol Portal, or PPP. You can think of it as a secure digital gateway where buyers and suppliers meet. It's the central hub that manages the whole interaction in a clean, machine-readable way. So, the buyer makes their move. They issue their PSP through the portal. And because the PSP dictates the exact format for all the answers, it guarantees that every single supplier provides their information in the same way. You get a true apples-to-apples comparison every single time. Now, check this out from the supplier's side. It's a total game changer for them, too. Their AI can instantly read the buyer's PSP, cross-reference it with their own verified BIP, and generate a perfectly formatted, 100% compliant response in seconds. No more tedious form filling, just an instant, accurate reply. So what's the ultimate payoff here? What does all of this actually mean for the overworked procurement professional who's just trying to get their job done?
Well, it means the end of the RFP nightmare.
Because all the responses are now perfectly structured data, the buyer's AI can do the initial heavy lifting. It can sort, filter, and analyze all the proposals automatically, essentially doing about 90% of the tedious, manual vetting work that used to take days or even weeks. The result is that the human buyer is presented with a clean shortlist. All that mind-numbing work of checking boxes and making sure everything is compliant, it's already been done by the system. The human expert can now focus their brainpower on the strategic part of the decision. And the impact on speed is, well, it's staggering. We're talking about taking a procurement cycle that traditionally takes weeks and shrinking it down to a matter of hours. That is absolutely revolutionary. It's a huge competitive advantage. So let's just sum it all up. What you get is a faster, way more accurate process. You're building on a foundation of trust, not marketing hype. You're letting AI handle the boring, tedious work, which frees up your human experts to focus on high-value strategic decisions. And maybe most importantly, you finally put an end to corporate buyer burnout. And that leaves us with one final thought. With the RFP nightmare finally solved, what would you and your team do with all that time back? What strategic projects could you finally tackle? What new value could you create? The possibilities are pretty exciting to think about, aren't they?